Alternative futures. Analysis is a powerful tool that helps organizations navigate uncertainty by exploring multiple potential outcomes. Unlike traditional planning, this approach prepares teams to anticipate diverse scenarios, identify risks, and seize opportunities. From business to government, it empowers decision makers to remain agile, adaptable, and ready for any challenge the future holds. Stay with us as we guide you through the principles and practices of alternative futures analysis and show you how to shape a better tomorrow. On screen is a copy of the AI-powered Strategic Thinker, 3 Kindle edition, so we can copy the prompt into ChatGPT. On the right is AI-powered Strategic Thinker, GPT, which is optimized for this tool and others in the book. You will want to start with the first prompt and provide context for your organization in the brackets. It may also be beneficial to upload documents related to your work. Prompt: act as the staff to your organization name. Your job is to synthesize the following context to assist in performing these 6 empathetic questions. Context is in brackets. If you understand your task, your only response is 3 dots. For this purpose, I've prepared a prompt that will make up an organization, but search the web for a real-world problem we can look at in this example. The prompt states, I need a hypothetical company from the real estate industry. Search the web and find a real-world problem the industry has not been able to solve. Provide an overview of the problem and wait for the next step. After the initial prompt, there are 11 additional prompts executed in this video. They are: 1, identify the focal issue or problem that you want to analyze. 2, gather a team of experts, including internal and external stakeholders, to brainstorm potential factors that could affect the focal issue. List and describe your team of experts. 3, I want you to act as the staff. Identify the key uncertainties and trends related to the focal issue. List and describe them. Select the 2 most critical and uncertain factors and convert them into a matrix of 2 axes with relevant endpoints of the alternative futures analysis. Now 5, now create the matrix using as many columns and rows as needed. 6, develop the different endpoints for each factor based on the information provided. 7, create a futures matrix by crossing the 2 chosen axes. 8, generate 10 plausible stories and scenarios for each quadrant of the matrix. 9, identify potential signposts or indicators for each scenario using the analysis of relevant data and trends. 10, evaluate current decisions and strategies in relation to each scenario. Identify alternative options that may be more effective. 11, update the scenarios using current events and emerging trends and adjust plans and strategies accordingly.
The real estate industry continues to grapple with the persistent challenge of housing affordability. Despite various initiatives, a significant portion of the population remains burdened by housing costs, with many spending more than 30% of their income on housing, thereby classifying them as cost-burdened. This issue is particularly acute among low-income households, where a substantial percentage are either moderately or severely cost-burdened. The shortage of affordable housing options exacerbates this problem, leading to increased rates of homelessness and housing instability. Factors contributing to this crisis include rising construction costs, restrictive zoning laws, and addressing housing affordability remains a complex and sources. The focal issue for analysis is the persistent shortage of affordable housing options in urban areas, exacerbated by rising construction costs, restrictive zoning laws, and insufficient funding for affordable housing projects. This issue affects low and middle-income households, leaving many cost-burdened and contributing to housing instability and homelessness. It represents a critical challenge in the real estate industry, with broader implications for social equity, economic growth, and urban development. To effectively address the focal issue of affordable housing shortages, we will assemble a multidisciplinary team of experts and stakeholders who can provide diverse perspectives and insights. Here is a proposed composition of the team: internal stakeholders, real estate firm developer, urban planner, expertise in land use, zoning laws, and urban development strategies. Can offer insights into how land use regulations and urban designs impact housing affordability. Construction manager, knowledge of construction processes, materials, and cost management. Can identify ways to reduce construction costs and streamline processes. Financial analyst, expertise in budgeting, investment modeling, and cost forecasting. Can evaluate the financial feasibility of proposed solutions. Marketing and community outreach specialist, skilled in community engagement and public relations. Can ensure solutions align with community needs and gain public support. External stakeholders, local government representative, e.g., zoning official or housing policy expert. Understanding of local zoning laws, permitting processes, and public housing initiatives. Can help navigate regulatory challenges and advocate for policy changes. Nonprofit housing advocate. Represents the needs of low-income households and marginalized communities. Ensures solutions are equitable and address the needs of vulnerable populations. Technology innovator, prop tech specialist. Expertise in leveraging technology to reduce costs and improve efficiency. Can introduce modular housing, digital twins, or other technological advancements. Economist with a focus on urban development. Provides macro-level insights into housing markets and economic trends. Can evaluate the broader economic impact of housing affordability solutions. Environmental sustainability expert. offers knowledge about eco-friendly building practices and sustainable development, ensures solutions align with environmental goals and mitigate climate impact. Community representative, a leader or advocate from the community affected by housing shortages, brings first-hand experience and ensures solutions are locally appropriate. Next steps. Convene the team for a brainstorming session to identify potential factors affecting the focal issue. Facilitate an open and structured discussion to capture insights from each perspective. Use design thinking techniques like empathy mapping or root cause analysis to understand the problem deeply. Would you like me to draft a brainstorming session agenda or suggest specific methods to explore potential factors? As the assembled team of experts, we have identified the key uncertainties and trends affecting the shortage of affordable housing in urban areas. These insights span regulatory, economic, social, technological, and environmental factors. Below is a detailed breakdown. Key uncertainties. Policy and regulatory changes. Uncertainty. Will governments relax restrictive zoning laws or introduce policies to incentivize affordable housing development? Impact. Policies like upzoning, inclusionary zoning, or tax incentives can significantly alter the landscape for affordable housing. However, resistance from communities or political shifts may stall such changes. Economic conditions. Uncertainty. How will inflation, interest rates, and labor costs evolve? Impact. Rising interest rates and material costs directly affect housing affordability by increasing construction expenses and mortgage rates. Availability of funding and investment. Uncertainty. Will there be sustained or increased public and private investment in affordable housing? Impact. Limited funding hampers large-scale affordable housing projects, while innovative financing models could unlock new opportunities. Community acceptance, NIMBYism. Uncertainty. How willing are communities to support affordable housing initiatives? Impact. Public opposition, driven by fears of declining property values or changes in neighborhood character, can delay or block projects. Technological adoption. Uncertainty. Will the industry embrace cost-reducing technologies like modular construction and 3D printing at scale? Impact. Technological advancements could revolutionize the speed and cost of construction, but adoption barriers remain high. Labor market dynamics. Uncertainty. Will the skilled labor shortage in construction persist or improve? Impact. Labor shortages increase project timelines and costs, hindering the production of affordable housing. Demographic shifts. Uncertainty. How will migration patterns and urbanization trends evolve post-pandemic? Impact. Changing demographics and population density in cities can increase demand for affordable housing or shift it to suburban rural areas. Environmental regulations. Uncertainty. Will stricter environmental regulations increase construction costs? Impact. Sustainable practices are crucial, but can raise initial costs, complicating affordability goals. Key trends. Urbanization and population growth. Trend. Increasing urban populations continue to drive housing demand in cities. Impact. This exacerbates housing shortages, particularly in high-demand metropolitan areas. Rise of modular and prefabricated construction. Trend. Growing interest in modular construction as a way to cut costs and construction time. Impact. Modular solutions offer scalability and efficiency, but require upfront investment and regulatory alignment. Focus on mixed-use developments. Trend. Developers are blending residential, commercial, and recreational spaces to maximize land use. Impact. Mixed-use developments can address housing needs while revitalizing urban areas. Increased role of public-private partnerships, PPS. Trend. Collaboration between governments and private developers is gaining traction. Impact. PPS bring financial resources and expertise to tackle complex housing challenges. Climate-resilient housing design. Trend. Growing emphasis on sustainability and resilience to climate risks. Impact. Incorporating eco-friendly materials and designs is becoming essential, though it may increase initial costs. Digital platforms and proptech innovations. Trend. The use of data analytics, AI, and digital platforms for site selection, tenant management, and cost optimization. Impact. Technology enhances efficiency and transparency but requires significant adoption efforts. Shift towards smaller housing units. Trend. Rising popularity of micro-apartments and co-living spaces. Impact. These formats are more affordable and align with changing lifestyle preferences among younger demographics. Increased scrutiny on equity and inclusion. Trend. A stronger push for equity in housing policy. Prioritizing marginalized communities. Impact. Policies may increasingly target the underserved, addressing systemic inequalities but requiring robust enforcement. This analysis sets the stage for a comprehensive exploration of potential solutions. Would you like us to prioritize these uncertainties and trends, or proceed to explore strategies for addressing the focal issue? After analyzing the uncertainties, the two most critical and uncertain factors are policy and regulatory changes. Uncertainty. Whether governments will enact supportive policies to enable affordable housing development. Technological adoption. Uncertainty. Whether the industry will widely adopt innovative construction technologies like modular building and 3D printing. Matrix of alternative futures analysis. These two factors are converted into axes for the matrix, with endpoints representing the spectrum of possible futures for each factor. Axis 1. Policy and regulatory changes. Supportive policies, relaxed zoning laws, incentives for affordable housing, and streamlined permitting processes. Restrictive policies, continued zoning restrictions, bureaucratic hurdles, and lack of incentives for affordable housing. Axis 2. Technological adoption. High technological adoption, rapid integration of modular construction, 3D printing, and other innovations across the industry. Low technological adoption, limited use of advanced technologies, reliance on traditional construction methods. Matrix quadrants. Quadrant 1. Transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Affordable housing thrives due to a combination of favorable policies and cutting-edge technologies. Cities experience rapid, scalable development of housing options, fostering social equity and economic growth. Quadrant 2. Tech-driven, but constrained, restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Technology enables some cost reductions, but restrictive policies severely limit housing development. Projects focus on high-profit segments or operate in areas with less regulatory burden, leaving affordability issues unresolved. Quadrant 3. Policy-led progress. Tech lags, supportive policies, low technological adoption. Favorable policies encourage affordable housing, but the reliance on traditional construction methods limits efficiency and scalability. Housing development occurs but at a slower pace and higher cost. Quadrant 4. Stagnation. Restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Affordable housing development remains stagnant due to a lack of policy support and minimal technological innovation. Housing shortages worsen, exacerbating social and economic disparities. Would you like to explore strategies specific to one of these quadrants or evaluate how a hypothetical company could adapt to each scenario? Below is the matrix for alternative futures analysis, combining policy and regulatory changes and technological adoption as the two critical uncertainties. Each cell in the matrix represents a quadrant with a description of the scenario. Alternative futures matrix. Technological adoption. High technological adoption, low technological adoption. Restrictive policies quadrant 2, tech-driven, but constrained quadrant 4. Stagnation, tech reduces construction costs, but regulatory barriers. No favorable policies or technological advancements limit project locations and scale. Construction stagnates, affordability worsens. High-tech solutions remain niche and profit-focused. Housing shortages persist, widening social inequalities. Key takeaways from the matrix. Quadrant 1, transformational growth. This is the most favorable scenario where supportive policies and high technological adoption synergize to address affordability challenges efficiently and at scale. Quadrant 2, tech-driven but constrained. While technology offers promise, restrictive policies dampen its impact, limiting affordable housing's accessibility and availability. Quadrant 3, policy-led progress, tech lags. Supportive policies provide a foundation for affordable housing, but progress is constrained by inefficient and outdated construction methods. Quadrant 4, stagnation, the least favorable scenario, where restrictive policies and low technological adoption leave the housing crisis unresolved, worsening inequality. Would you like me to expand on strategies or innovations to target a specific quadrant, or should I analyze how a company could operate effectively in multiple scenarios? To further refine the analysis, we will define specific endpoints for each factor in the matrix to capture the range of possible futures in greater detail. These endpoints reflect the spectrum of outcomes and provide a structured foundation for scenario planning. Factor 1. Policy and regulatory changes. This factor describes the degree to which governments and policymakers create an environment conducive to affordable housing development. Endpoints: highly supportive policies, widespread upzoning and relaxed zoning restrictions, streamlined permitting processes to reduce delays, tax incentives, grants, and subsidies for affordable housing developers. Public-private partnerships (PPS) flourish, fostering collaboration. Restrictive policies: continued emphasis on exclusionary zoning, e.g., single-family-only zones. Lengthy and costly permitting processes deter development. Lack of government support for affordable housing projects. Resistance from local governments due to NIMBYism or political priorities. Factor 2. Technological adoption. This factor represents the extent to which innovative construction technologies and practices are adopted across the real estate and housing sectors. Endpoints: high technological adoption, rapid implementation of modular and prefabricated construction methods, mainstream use of 3D printing for housing construction, advanced software and proptech tools streamline planning and cost management, widespread adoption of sustainable building materials and energy-efficient designs. Low technological adoption, resistance to adopting advanced construction technologies due to high upfront costs or regulatory barriers. Continued reliance on traditional construction methods, which are labor-intensive and costly. Minimal integration of proptech tools, limiting efficiency improvements. Little innovation in sustainable and scalable housing designs. Matrix revisited with detailed endpoints. Technological adoption high. Technological adoption low. Technological adoption policy and regulatory changes highly supportive policies quadrant. 1. Transformational growth quadrant. 3. Policy-led progress. Tech lags. Government incentives align with advanced technologies. Policies encourage housing, but traditional methods slow pace. Large-scale affordable housing is quickly developed. Cost remains higher due to lack of technological efficiency. Restrictive policies quadrant 2. Tech-driven but constrained quadrant 4. Stagnation. Advanced technologies focus on high-end housing, not equity. Little policy support or innovation. Housing crisis deepens. Regulatory hurdles limit affordable housing expansion. Traditional methods fail to meet demand, worsening shortages. These detailed endpoints provide clarity for scenario analysis, enabling focused exploration of strategies tailored to each combination. Would you like to identify actions a company might take under specific quadrants, or assess broader industry adaptations? Futures matrix, crossing the two axes. The futures matrix is a visual representation of the interaction between the two chosen axes, policy and regulatory changes and technological adoption. Each cell represents one of the 4 possible future scenarios based on the combination of the endpoints for these axes. Matrix representation. High technological adoption, low technological adoption. Scenario descriptions. Quadrant 1, transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Future outlook. Governments support affordable housing with incentives, relaxed zoning, and streamlined permitting. Modular construction, 3D printing, and proptech are widely adopted, reducing costs and accelerating timelines. Large-scale, eco-friendly, and affordable housing projects thrive, addressing urban housing crises effectively. Quadrant 2, tech-driven but constrained, restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Future outlook. Technological advancements reduce construction costs but are largely confined to markets with fewer regulatory barriers. Restrictive zoning and complex permitting processes stifle affordable housing development. Affordable housing remains a secondary focus, with technology primarily benefiting luxury markets. Quadrant 3, policy-led progress, tech lags, supportive policies, low technological adoption. Future outlook. Governments encourage affordable housing, but reliance on traditional construction methods slows progress. Development costs remain high due to inefficiencies, limiting the number of affordable units built. Projects advance, but they lack the scalability and cost reduction seen in high-tech scenarios. Quadrant 4, stagnation, restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Future outlook. Restrictive policies and resistance to technological change lead to minimal progress on affordable housing. High construction costs, zoning barriers, and lack of innovation worsen housing shortages. Socioeconomic inequality grows as affordability issues remain unaddressed. Visualization of futures matrix. Here's a visual representation. Luocopi code, high technological adoption, low technological adoption. Supportive transformational growth, policy-led progress, tech lags. Policies affordable housing flourishes, slower progress due to reliance, due to policy and tech synergy, on traditional methods. Restrictive tech-driven but constrained stagnation. Policies innovation thrives but doesn't housing crisis worsens with. Scale due to regulatory barriers. No policy or tech advancements. Would you like me to delve deeper into strategies for one of the quadrants or identify actionable recommendations for a hypothetical company navigating these scenarios? Here are 10 plausible stories and scenarios for each quadrant of the futures matrix, considering the focal issue of affordable housing shortages. Quadrant 1, transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Massive modular development. A government partnership with a leading tech company funds modular construction factories, rapidly producing affordable housing units. AI-optimized urban planning, AI-driven proptech platforms streamline zoning approvals and site selection, cutting project lead times by half. Universal affordable housing mandates. Policies mandate that all large developments include 40% affordable units, supported by subsidies. Eco-friendly housing boom. Widespread adoption of 3D printed materials leads to carbon-neutral affordable housing. Global housing exchange. International collaboration enables the import-export of prefab housing modules, reducing costs. Inclusionary zoning in wealthy areas, relaxed zoning in affluent neighborhoods allows diverse, affordable housing projects to integrate seamlessly. Urban-rural housing balance. Governments incentivize tech-enabled affordable affordable housing in rural areas, dispersing urban crowding. Smart housing solutions, IoT integrated affordable units improve energy efficiency, lowering operational costs for tenants. Workforce development from modular construction. Educational initiatives train workers in advanced construction technologies, ensuring scalability. Housing for All campaign. Nationwide public-private collaboration eliminates homelessness within 5 years. Quadrant 2, tech-driven but constrained. Restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Luxury prefab dominance, modular construction thrives but focuses on high-end housing due to regulatory barriers for affordable projects. Offshore housing factories, developers move prefab production offshore to avoid local zoning restrictions, driving costs down but raising logistical challenges. Pop-up housing for the wealthy, advanced technologies create temporary housing for short-term luxury stays, rather than addressing long-term affordability. Urban micro-units, regulatory hurdles limit larger developments, forcing tech innovations into high-density, single-person micro-apartments. Unauthorized tech builds, developers in restrictive regions use technology for off-the-record projects, resulting in unregulated housing stock. High-tech slums, in regions with restrictive policies, tech innovation creates informal settlements with high-quality structures, but no formal recognition. Selective zoning exceptions, high-tech firms negotiate zoning exceptions for flagship developments, leaving systemic challenges unresolved. Sustainable but exclusive, tech-driven, eco-friendly housing caters to green-minded high-income earners due to regulatory limitations. Construction bottlenecks, prefab units are built efficiently but sit idle due to delayed permitting and zoning conflicts. Innovation without equity, advanced technologies focus on profit-driven solutions, sidelining affordability concerns. Quadrant 3, policy-led progress, tech lags. Supportive policies, low technological adoption, traditional affordable units expansion. Governments subsidize housing projects using conventional methods, leading to slower but steady progress. Zoning uplift, nationwide upzoning policies unlock large tracts of land for affordable housing, but slow construction leads to supply gaps. Incentive-driven projects, developers receive tax breaks for building affordable units, but rely on traditional, labor-intensive construction methods. Incremental density growth, cities incentivize incremental densification, such as duplexes and accessory dwelling units, but fail to meet demand rapidly. Rural affordable housing focus, supportive policies focus on rural areas, leaving urban centers underserved. Manual workforce boom, policies create construction jobs for traditional methods, but fail to address skilled labor shortages. Community-led affordable housing, grassroots initiatives build affordable housing cooperatives with government backing, using conventional techniques. Public housing revitalization. Governments invest in repairing and expanding public housing stock, using time-tested construction methods. Private sector delays. Favorable policies encourage private sector involvement, but traditional construction timelines delay impact. Policy-driven resilience. Despite slow construction, supportive policies ensure that affordable housing includes disaster-resilient features. Quadrant 4, stagnation. Restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Housing crisis deepens. Restrictive zoning laws and traditional construction methods lead to severe shortages, worsening urban homelessness. Informal settlements surge. Unregulated and unsafe housing proliferates in urban outskirts as affordable options vanish. Wealth concentration in housing. Developers focus on high-margin luxury projects, further marginalizing low-income communities. Failed government programs. Attempts to improve affordability fail due to lack of funding and reliance on outdated methods. Construction slowdown. Rising costs and skilled labor shortages exacerbate delays, halting affordable housing projects. NIMBYism blocks solutions. Community resistance prevents densification or affordable housing developments in suburban and urban areas. Urban decline. High housing costs force low-income workers out of cities, leaving urban centers with labor shortages and declining services. Homelessness epidemic. With no significant housing relief, homelessness rises, straining social services and public safety. Black market rentals, high costs and shortages lead to a surge in illegal and unsafe rental arrangements. Climate vulnerabilities, unaddressed, outdated methods fail to incorporate resilience against climate risks, leaving vulnerable populations at greater risk. Summary of quadrant scenarios. Quadrant 1 stories envision a future where policies and technology create transformative solutions for affordable housing. Quadrant 2 explores a tech-driven future hindered by restrictive policies, where innovation focuses on exclusivity. Quadrant 3 imagines steady but slow progress due to supportive policies relying on traditional methods. Quadrant 4 paints a bleak picture of worsening shortages due to restrictive policies and resistance to innovation. Would you like to expand on strategies for any particular quadrant, or analyze these scenarios further? Here are potential signposts or indicators for each scenario in the 4 quadrants. These signposts signal the likely emergence of specific futures. Here are potential signposts or indicators for each scenario in the 4 quadrants. These signposts signal the likely emergence of specific futures based on observable data and trends. Quadrant 1, transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Signposts, indicators, policy indicators. Increased adoption of upzoning and inclusionary zoning policies in major urban areas. Fast tracking of permits for modular and prefabricated housing projects. Significant tax incentives for developers building affordable housing units. Technological indicators. Large-scale investment in modular housing factories and 3D printing facilities. Rapid growth in proptech startups focused on cost optimization and construction automation. Increased funding for R&D in sustainable and scalable building technologies. Market indicators. Decline in per-unit construction costs due to widespread adoption of modular techniques. Acceleration in affordable housing project completions compared to historical averages. Social indicators. Reduced percentage of households spending more than 30% of their income on housing. Visible reduction in homelessness rates in cities adopting transformative policies. Quadrant 2, tech-driven but constrained. Restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Signposts, indicators, policy indicators. Continued opposition to upzoning and lack of zoning reform in high-demand urban areas. Bureaucratic delays in permitting processes despite available technological solutions. Restrictive land use policies that limit the availability of land for affordable housing. Technological indicators. Surge in luxury housing projects using modular and advanced construction technologies. Prefabricated housing technologies deployed for niche markets but not affordable housing. Growth of high-tech construction startups focused on profitability over affordability. Market indicators. Increasing gap between high-end and affordable housing availability. Slowdown in affordable housing developments despite rising technological capacity. Social indicators. Persistent affordability challenges for low-income populations despite technological progress. Gentrification of urban neighborhoods due to high-tech luxury developments. Quadrant 3, policy-led progress, tech lags. Supportive policies, low technological adoption. Signposts, indicators, policy indicators. Widespread introduction of subsidies and grants for traditional affordable housing projects. Incremental densification policies encouraging duplexes, ADUs, and other low-impact changes. Public sector investment in public housing repairs and expansions. Technological indicators, stagnation in modular construction adoption or limited pilot projects. Minimal investment in proptech or advanced construction rand. Market indicators. Rising costs of traditional construction methods due to inflation and labor shortages. Slow growth in affordable housing stock despite policy support. Social indicators. Gradual improvement in housing affordability metrics, though not transformative. Limited impact on homelessness rates, with uneven progress across regions. Quadrant 4, stagnation. Restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Signposts, indicators. Policy indicators. Continued opposition to affordable housing initiatives by local governments. Lack of public funding for housing projects or policies favoring high-income developments. Persistence of exclusionary zoning in urban areas. Technological indicators. No significant advances in construction technologies or their adoption in the industry. Reliance on outdated labor-intensive construction methods. Market indicators. Escalating housing costs with no corresponding growth in affordable housing supply. Increasing reliance on informal or unsafe housing arrangements in urban areas. Social indicators. Rising rates of homelessness and housing insecurity. Greater migration of low-income populations to peri-urban or rural areas due to unaffordable urban rents. Intensification of social inequalities and community resistance to affordable housing projects. Summary of signposts. Signposts provide early warnings or confirmations of which quadrant is materializing. Quadrant 1. Look for simultaneous progress in housing policy reform and rapid scaling of advanced technologies. Quadrant 2. Monitor technological advancements that predominantly benefit luxury markets amid regulatory stagnation. Quadrant 3. Track policy-driven housing projects relying on traditional methods with slow but steady progress. Quadrant 4. Watch for entrenched resistance to both policy reform and innovation, alongside worsening affordability metrics. Would you like to explore potential actions or strategies based on these signposts? Evaluating current decisions and strategies for addressing affordable housing challenges against each quadrant and proposing alternative, more effective options requires a structured approach. Below is a detailed evaluation for each quadrant, considering the focal issue and signposts. Quadrant 1. Transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Current decisions and strategies. Governments incentivize modular and 3D printed housing with tax breaks and subsidies. Developers partner with proptech firms to streamline project delivery and cost management. Public-private partnerships (PPS) focus on large-scale affordable housing projects. Evaluation. These strategies effectively leverage policy support and technological innovations. However, scaling remains challenging due to workforce readiness and initial capital requirements. Alternative options. Expand modular training programs. Invest in workforce development programs to train construction workers in modular and tech-driven methods. Localize tech implementation. Adapt modular and 3D printing technologies to local needs, e.g., climate-specific designs. Distributed manufacturing. Establish regional prefabrication hubs to reduce logistical challenges and costs. Inclusive development mandates require technology-enabled projects to include a minimum percentage of affordable units, ensuring equity. Quadrant 2, tech-driven but constrained. Restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Current decisions and strategies. Developers focus on luxury modular housing due to zoning restrictions for affordable projects. Technology startups prioritize markets with fewer regulatory hurdles, often leaving underserved areas behind. Advocacy efforts push for gradual zoning reform without significant breakthroughs. Evaluation. These strategies emphasize profitability in restrictive markets but neglect systemic affordability issues. Restrictive policies limit the impact of technological advancements on affordable housing. Alternative options. Advocate for incremental policy changes. Push for small but impactful reforms, such as upzoning specific corridors for affordable housing. Covert collaboration with local governments. Partner with forward-thinking municipalities to pilot high-tech affordable projects. Temporary housing solutions. Deploy modular technologies for temporary housing in areas with severe shortages, bypassing some regulatory hurdles. Tech for advocacy. Use data analytics and visualization tools to demonstrate the potential of tech-enabled affordable housing to policymakers and communities. Quadrant 3. Policy-led progress. Tech lags. Supportive policies, low technological adoption. Current decisions and strategies. Governments focus on traditional affordable housing methods, such as repairing existing public housing stock. Developers rely on conventional construction techniques, leading to slower project delivery. Subsidies encourage affordable housing, but innovation in methods is limited. Evaluation. While policy support addresses affordability incrementally, reliance on outdated methods limits scalability and cost efficiency. Rising labor and material costs strain budgets, reducing the number of units delivered. Alternative options. Incentivize innovation in traditional methods. Offer subsidies for incorporating incremental technological improvements, e.g., prefabricated components in traditional builds. Phase adoption of modular tech. Introduce modular methods gradually alongside traditional construction, reducing resistance and capital strain. Community engagement. Involve communities in the design process to build support for innovative but unfamiliar approaches. Leverage land use policies. Combine policy support with land sharing initiatives to reduce upfront costs for developers. Quadrant 4. Stagnation. Restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Current decisions and strategies. Governments prioritize other policy areas over housing, leading to restrictive zoning and limited funding. Developers focus on high-margin luxury projects due to market conditions. Affordable housing advocacy is fragmented and lacks resources to effect change. Evaluation. Current strategies fail to address the core issue of housing affordability. The lack of policy and technological advancement perpetuates the housing crisis. Alternative options. Grassroots advocacy campaigns. Mobilize public opinion to pressure policymakers for zoning and funding reforms. Incremental densification strategies. Push for policies that encourage low-impact density, increases e.g. accessory dwelling units. Small-scale tech pilots. Initiate small, localized projects using affordable tech to demonstrate feasibility and build momentum. Collaborative funding models. Partner with nonprofits and impact investors to fund affordable housing projects in underserved areas. Cross-scenario strategies. Innovative funding models. Across all scenarios, exploring new funding models such as impact investing, housing bonds, or revolving loan funds can ensure financial sustainability. Building coalitions. Engage diverse stakeholders, e.g. policymakers, community groups, tech firms, to build coalitions that drive reform and innovation across all quadrants. Data-driven decision-making. Leverage data and proptech tools to identify optimal locations and designs for affordable housing, regardless of policy or technological adoption levels. Scalable pilot projects. Develop scalable pilot projects that demonstrate success in any scenario, creating a blueprint for broader adoption. Would you like a deeper analysis of any specific quadrant or an actionable roadmap based on these recommendations? I need a hypothetical company from the real estate industry. Search the web and find a real-world problem the industry has not been able to solve. Provide an overview of the problem and wait for the next step. I need a hypothetical company from the real estate industry. Search the web and find a real-world problem the industry has not been able to solve. Provide an overview of the problem and wait for the next step. Recent developments in affordable housing policies and construction technologies necessitate a reassessment of the previously outlined scenarios. By integrating current events and emerging trends, we can refine strategies to effectively address affordable housing shortages. Quadrant 1. Transformational growth. Supportive policies, high technological adoption. Emerging trends, government initiatives. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development (HUD) has allocated over $1 billion to modernize older apartment buildings, enhancing energy efficiency and climate resilience for low-income renters. Associated Press. Technological innovations. Startups like Automated Architecture (AWAR) are utilizing robotic construction methods to build homes more rapidly and cost-effectively, aiming to address housing shortages. The Times. Adjusted strategies. Leverage federal funding. Developers should align projects with federal programs to access funds for sustainable and resilient affordable housing developments. Adopt robotic construction. Incorporate robotic and automated construction techniques to expedite building processes and reduce costs, thereby increasing the supply of affordable housing. Public-private partnerships. Foster collaborations between government entities and private firms to scale innovative housing solutions effectively. Quadrant 2. Tech-driven, but constrained. Restrictive policies, high technological adoption. Emerging trends. Policy resistance. Despite technological advancements, some regions maintain restrictive zoning laws, limiting the deployment of innovative construction methods for affordable housing. Adelaide Now. Focus on luxury markets. Advanced construction technologies are often directed towards high-end developments due to regulatory constraints on affordable housing projects. Adjusted strategies. Advocacy for policy reform. Engage in concerted efforts to educate policymakers on the benefits of technological innovations in affordable housing to encourage regulatory changes. Demonstration projects. Implement pilot projects that showcase the potential of advanced construction technologies in delivering affordable housing within existing regulatory frameworks. Strategic market targeting. Focus on regions with more flexible policies to deploy technological solutions effectively while building a case for broader policy reforms. Quadrant 3. Policy-led progress. Tech lags. Supportive policies, low technological adoption. Emerging trends. Policy expansion. Proposed amendments in regions like South Australia aim to extend affordable housing requirements across all areas, including affluent suburbs, to increase affordable housing stock. Adelaide Now. Traditional construction challenges, high construction costs, and skilled labor shortages hinder the effectiveness of policy initiatives aimed at affordable housing. Adjusted strategies. Incentivize technological adoption. Provide incentives for developers to integrate emerging construction technologies that can reduce costs and accelerate project timelines. Workforce development. Invest in training programs to equip workers with skills in new construction technologies, addressing labor shortages and enhancing productivity. Policy support for innovation. Encourage policymakers to support pilot programs that test and validate new construction methods within affordable housing projects. Quadrant 4. Stagnation. Restrictive policies, low technological adoption. Emerging trends. Worsening housing crisis. Restrictive zoning laws and resistance to development have exacerbated housing affordability issues, leading to increased homelessness and housing insecurity. Herald Sun. Environmental concerns. The building sector's significant contribution to global emissions highlights the need for sustainable construction practices, which are lacking in this quadrant. Reuters. Adjusted strategies. Grassroots advocacy. Mobilize community efforts to advocate for zoning reforms and the adoption of sustainable construction practices to address both housing and environmental challenges. Incremental policy changes. Work towards small-scale policy adjustments that can pave the way for more significant reforms in the future. Educational campaigns. Raise awareness about the benefits of technological adoption and policy reforms in improving housing affordability and environmental sustainability. By aligning strategies with current events and emerging trends, stakeholders can more effectively navigate the complexities of affordable housing development and implement solutions that are both innovative and practical. Sources.
Thank you for exploring alternative futures analysis with us today. This approach isn't just about preparing for what's ahead, it's about embracing the unknown and equipping ourselves to thrive in any scenario. By identifying risks and opportunities across diverse outcomes, we can lead with resilience and adaptability. As always, strategic thinking shapes our present decisions and builds our future success. Stay curious, stay agile, and let's keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.